Last week, I told you that 2019 will be a critical year for us as a nation. Not because of the upcoming elections, which is already proving to be critical, especially after the Mr. Amechi's leaked audio tapes of the incompetence of his boss in just 3 years of leadership. I said 2019 will be critical because of the cracks in our society's fabric, the increase in crime rates, national security threats in about 10 different places, the increase in number of people living in extreme poverty, the monopoly, the control of the monopoly of violence, and the ability to just cause chaos. Just in that week, we hear that the militants in Niger Delta, under a new name called the War Against Niger Delta Exploitation, they've resumed blowing up pipelines in the Niger Delta. On the 27th of December last year, they threatened to start attacking and disrupting, and even threatened to disrupt the 2019 elections. And then on the 6th of January, just a few days ago, they attacked a facility in Bayelsa State, and where oil was first found in Nigeria. That was on the 6th of January. In the midst of all this, the question I ask myself as these things continue to unfold is, what do I want about my country? What is the one thing that I want about Nigeria? And I continue to ask this for anybody who cares to listen. What is that one thing? Is it a better healthcare system so that you don't have to worry about how close you are to death during emergencies? Is it a quality education system so that you are sure that your future will be better than that of your parents? Or so that you can at least be at peace that your kids who have a better education will not be threatened by the high number of kids outside there who don't have access to education at all. In Bayelsa State, where this whole pipeline was bombed, education is not a priority. I was there in 2015, and for the average youth, that's about 4 years ago, what I observed was appalling, to say the least. I wrote about this in an article called Is Bayelsa Beyond Redemption? Today, as I read the news, I'm thinking, what is it that Bayelsa youth want? Is it job security? Is it a better economy so that you can at least live a decent life that affords you dignity? Is it power supply so that you can run your business without having to spend half the time or half your cost of production on buying diesel or petrol? Or is it so your kids can have electricity to read and do their assignments in the evening? Or is it even superpower status? What do you want for Nigeria? Is it a kind of status that you can be proud of wherever you go when you go outside the borders and be respected? What is the one thing that you want so badly that Nigeria lacks? As I mentioned in my last video, Nigeria is currently speeding towards what I now call an Afrocalypse. And an Afrocalypse because it's going to have a massive ripple effect across the continent of Africa. This Afrocalypse is a total loss of control of the central government in Nigeria as far as governance is concerned, and the new control of the monopoly of force and violence by different groups exposed to arms and ammunition that is already filtering through the country and its borders. You won't see an increase in crime rate and number of casualties that the Nigerian police can no longer control. A manifestation of lawlessness that has currently beclouded our country on our roads, in the office, in our schools and universities, pretty much everywhere. We see an exponential increase in the number of poor people living in extreme poverty, asking for donations to treat a loved one, to go through a surgery on social media, for money to go to school to complete a degree, or for money to even eat. A total shutdown of government as we know it today can happen because the government can no longer cope with the demand for public services that our population growth will bring with it. You can expect a new form of civil disobedience, not in marches or protests, even though we will experience that, but in outright disobedience of the laws and established norms of society, a society that pretends to be working. You see a disregard for authority or even a total absence of authority, a reawakening of the militancy that we currently see in the Niger Delta, and we can even expect markings of territory there. We all grapple with the challenges of, for example, climate change or receding Sahara in the north, the rising sea levels. It's and the floods. You see, floods that is now like an annual ritual. In all of this, it's the question for me: what do we want, or do we want to just live? Like 2.8 million Nigerians already tried to live in 2018. You leave your parents, you leave your siblings. You just don't want anything, no part of this country anymore. You just don't want to be a part of it. Is that what you want? Is that what we want? So we can hear the casualties from the abroad. Even though if those casualties are about the people that we love, week in, week out, do we just want to forget that this is where we were born at such a time as this? What do I really want to happen in Nigeria? What do you really want to happen? If you had magical powers to happen? This is the question I keep asking myself until I realize these magical powers that you wish you had, that we wish we had. Under a democracy, we actually do have the powers to create the kind of system that we want. When those who originated democracy started, it was an attempt to put power to create the kind of society that they wanted in the people. This is why the phrase "power to the people" is a democratic slogan. It's also why Abraham Lincoln defined democracy as a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. The key word in that definition, which I must say is silent, is organizing. When things go bad in the way that we do not want, what we do currently is agonize. We complain. We mention it in our discussion with our friends, in barber shops, or in salons, or when it gets so bad, we pray about it. While all these things are within our rights and they're necessary, they are not sufficient in creating the kind of society that we want. Secondary school students today are graduating in high numbers, and they can't read or write, talk less of passing their WAEC examinations. It is not enough to just complain about it. Hospitals do not have enough doctors and nurses to attend to patients, or they don't even have enough beds to admit critical ill patients, meaning that these patients end up dying needlessly. It is not enough to agonize and cry and mourn these dead people. Our roads are so bad today that almost every Nigerian citizen knows at least one person who have lost their lives traveling from point A to point B. Praying about journey messages at the beginning of every journey in the bus is necessary. Yes, it is, but it is not sufficient. You have lecturers that are now predators to female students. They harass them for sex so that they can pass them instead of actually teaching. So what we have in our university system today has been degraded. Analyzing that impact and the effect on TV stations and TV shows and in the many WhatsApp groups that we all belong, that isn't enough. The missing link here is organizing. We have to take that step to organize for a change in the way that things are to the way that we want them to be. In a democracy, the citizens have the power not just to elect politicians, but to create the kind of society that they desire. Our society has remained the way it is today and continue to deteriorate because we as citizens have failed in our duty to organize and create the kind of society that we want. We've left that in the hands of politicians. Democracy works when we stand up and organize ourselves and demand from those elected exactly the kind of society that we want and the way we want things to be done. More often than not, we have refrained from organizing ourselves. We refrain from doing concrete work because we've looked after each other and asked, what if I'm alone? What if we're few in number? What if the politicians mobilize against us and use the same poverty in the land to get the people who suffer the same fate with us to mobilize against our demands? Let me tell you something. Today, there is a silent majority in our country that should we decide to stand up, we will dwarf whatever norms the current elite class can mobilize with poverty incentives. That's a fact. And this majority has been silent because we have refused to stand up and be counted. we have refused to organize ourselves. Because we have all chosen not to stand up. If you're watching this video, I want to implore you to think about the Nigeria that we have created today by our inaction and what it is turning into and what the future looks like. And then choose to stand up and organize for the fundamental reform that our society needs. And you can be sure that when you stand up, out of that silent majority, there are those who are observing, and another person out of them will stand up and join us. And because of you, those in your office will stand up. Those in your class will stand up. Those on your campus will stand up. And the whole city will join us and organize. And we will deliver a democracy, we will deliver our democracy. And take a U-turn from this impending march towards this apocalypse. And we will create a kind of society that we all want, where there are jobs for the jobless, and an education that can guarantee a job and compete in the 21st century, and an economy that can withstand the falling prices of crude oil. And we will create a Nigeria that we will all love and proud to call our country, irrespective of where we live or where we do business, or whichever part of the continent we are. That is my charge to you today. That is my call to you today. Our movement is organizing as many Nigerians as will be interested in demanding for reform on a variety of issues, from local government to state government to federal government. And our Organising for Reform page is open to everyone who wants to join. Those who want to join us and march for reform, or sign a petition, or protest a law, or demand for an act of parliament, or demand for information from elected officials. If you believe that it is time to take on this journey with us, then visit our website, raisinguniversity.org/whoever, and sign up. And soon enough, we'll become that generation that gets to see the Nigeria of our dreams. God bless you. And God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.